instead of me, needing $1,500 to $2,000 a month, I needed more than that, like by double, right? Because Los Angeles, it's expensive and all the things. And so I was like scrambling to get my fledgling companies off the ground to actually pay me, right? And I was so afraid to leave those companies that I'd started and throw my weight behind what Lesley had started, because I knew how difficult it was to put a financial burden on a new business. And I was worried that if I brought me, I looked at myself as an anchor to Lesley's company. I didn't look at myself as an asset to Lesley's company, right? Again, fear and mindset, right? So I said, well, yeah, okay, but that means her company's going to have to support me. And I know the financial strain that could put on everything. And that's not, I know it can crush a starting company, right? But I never was looking on the flip side of the coin. I was never looking and saying like, I have been through so many different startup companies. I have worn so many roles. I've seen so many things. I've spent all this money from other people on all these other things, marketing, hiring, firing, whatever, events, like so much stuff, dev. I mean, it was just a lot of things. And I wasn't looking at all of that as an asset that I was bringing to Lesley's company. No, instead I was saying like, man, I'm just going to be an anchor that's going to drag her company down. Right. And this is, again, fear. Right. And when we took our first, when I participated in our first coaching program with somebody else, the very first thing that my one-on-one coach said to me was, dude, you're going to make the money. You are going to make that money, right? You have all these skills, all this understanding, all this wherewithal. You're going to make that money, right? And he was totally right. Not only did we make that money, we made more money than I needed just to pay my bills. We were paying Lesley's bills and my bills, right? And then slowly we decided to hire an assistant, and then we were able to pay her, and then we hired a video editor and we were able to pay her, right? And so it was very exciting to have this belief in myself of like, wow, me coming into this situation isn't an anchor, isn't a negative thing. Me coming in can be a positive thing. I didn't even really know what I was doing, in the sense of like, here's my plan, here's my strategy for growth. It wasn't like that. It was just me being willing to do whatever it took. Again, that, at work ethic that I had fallen into before, applied here, because I felt like at any moment, like we were going to lose it all, right? And so I was working so hard, and it didn't matter. I wouldn't sleep. I would just work. And but the company started to grow, and we started to suddenly be able to do fun things. Like Lesley began traveling around the world and speaking at these events, and then we began hosting these retreats and everything. And it was really, really an incredible life that we had built for ourselves. Our team was really small still, and we got to travel and do what we loved. And then all of that came crashing down with COVID, right? So suddenly we're making more than enough money for Lesley and for me and our two teammates. And we may have had a third person at that point. I'm struggling to remember, but it was still a really small team. And the COVID suddenly made it, we had to switch. We had to change everything, right? And we had to... if we were going to grow, all of a sudden, all these cool ideas that we had been laying the foundation for, they needed to work. They needed to actually make money, right? And so in order for us to do that, we needed to hire a team. And so now here we are years later, and now we have a team. We have like a real team. It's like, depending on the month, depends on who's specifically working for us, but we have a handful of full-time people, and we've got a whole lot of part-time people. Like we could have 20 different people working for us during the month, or more even, right? So, and we now I have this same creeping fear. It's never gone away, right? And so now it's like, are we going to make sure we're able to pay these people, what they deserve? And I value them, and I'm so grateful that they're working with us. And the experiences that I had, my worst nightmare would be that they experience what I had to experience, because it was terrible, right? And so the bigger question is like, how do you tackle this fear? How do you work on this? How do you get, like this, you may be, I don't know. There's these stories that we're telling ourselves, and if you are a small business owner running a studio and you have a team and you're worried about, class attendance, like I get it. I totally get that. An unexpected bill comes up or like, something happens in the studio and you have to fix, I don't know, like construction stuff or something like a water bursts and like, I don't know, there's so many things that like could go wrong. Right. And how do you live life looking on the positive side of things, looking at yourself as an asset instead of, allowing that fear to creep in and take over? And when I today, what I want to when I feel that fear, because it still comes and goes, especially every month when we have to do payroll, right, or we have to pay our credit card bill because we put all the company expenses on a credit card, right? I get these moments of this, it's like a dam burst of like, whoa, and you're like, oh my God. And then it's like, okay, right. I gotta remember, like, we have amazing things working for us. We have an amazing team. I have an amazing partner in Lesley. I have an amazing team who's supporting, we've got a beautiful vision. We have awesome clients. We get to work with amazing people, and we get to impact their life, in such a positive way. Whether that's with the online classes or with the fitness business coaching, or even with this podcast. And I have to remind myself, hey, things are going in the right direction, and good things are happening.